to be part of the record, you can leave the session. Welcome again to all of you that are participating on my webinar, public webinars. This is the last one from my side for this year, and you are welcome to participate here. Today, we will talk about DSPM, Data Security Posture Management. And this is very new, is the new name for AI have, but have some improvement. And all of this was launched a month ago in the last Microsoft Ignite. For that reason, I believe this one can be very helpful to go forward, understanding several concepts and see during the demo how all of this work in a real world with real samples. Okay, let's go with the presentation. Please feel free to start asking anything that you want to ask. Uh, we can talk during all the presentation, and at the end, I will give some time to have some Q&A. Let's go. ESPM for AI. We will talk about some general concepts, understanding a little more about this concept related to oversharing that is today is one of the most common word, oversharing, and how we can use all the tools. And in the demo, I will show to you how you can access to DSPM, how you can use DSPM, how you can consume DSPM. The first thing is have a little introduction. I will try to go very quick through all the slides. The people that know me from previous session and know that I prefer to do demos, but we need to have some share some specific concept, and this is the idea for the slide. Nevertheless, I will find the way to share this presentation if you want to go more in deep on those concepts. The first thing is understand some core concept related to AI. The most common that we were using was machine learning. And with machine learning, on Microsoft 365, we were having the trainable classifiers. Trainable classifier is something related to machine learning. But after that, several other products are evolving with different focus. We have the natural language processing, computer visions, generative AI. This one is very interesting. Few days ago, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, I was sharing under Azure AI service how you can use the computer vision service to make OCR over image. If you're following me on LinkedIn, you can find that post. I will share the link as well. But this one is very interesting because the OCR that I was sharing is using the version 3.2, but there exists a new version that is the 4.0, and the new one you can give a picture, and the system is have the capability to say that on the picture you have a house, you have a green yard, you have a fence, and it's possible to identify several information, recognizing the component of the image. In that case, today we can talk about different types of AI. Narrow AI, focus on a specific task, general AI, and super AI that normally is related to supercomputers. Maybe you were reading about some progress that NVIDIA is doing with the chips to have all of that. And this is very helpful through different industries. That is something that we can discuss at the end. Some samples, maybe you were using ChatGPT or Copilot or DALI. There today we can find several different AIs to create images, to help us finding some information, generating text. We have Copilot on Microsoft 365. We have AIs to create videos and several things. But the emerging challenge with the AI is the data privacy risk, and that is one of the points that we were discussing today related to DSPM, ethical concerns, and data security. But to start talking about all of this and DSPM, the first thing that we need to do is talk about oversharing. What happened with oversharing? Oversharing is something that was happening from many years ago. During a lot of time, any one of us was able to find sensitive information in a temporary folder, someone that put sensitive information in the wrong folder, and because we were looking for something additional, finally we found I don't know, maybe the payroll information from the organization that was put in the bad place. What happened, to try to summarize this one, is Copilot and other AIs is a super user that do the same that we were doing on the past, looking for some files, but because it's a machine, have the capability to look for information in several places at the same time. And is for some reason a SharePoint site or OneDrive in some moment was shared with anyone, or someone is not using sensitivity labels in some folder because the sensitivity labels was implemented this year or the past year in our organization, but for new document, but not for the old documents. In that order of idea, Copilot and other AI solutions will have the capability to find that information and generate answers based on that findings. Here we can see that the definition about overturning and the relevance related to this inclusive. I will share this slide, but we can found several in the past 6 months. I put several links on this presentation from the past 6 months with current incidents that are happening related to oversharing. And the cause, we will discuss in that, is the misconfigured permissions, broad data access, lack of governance. That is very important. Unfortunately, we put sensitive information in many places, cloud services, on-premise services, and in several cases, we give to the different business unit or department a general folder. And the same areas start creating subfolders and managing the permissions, but that is not enough because the consequence for overturns are data breaches, regulatory compliance risk, financial and reputational damage. And here we can see some samples about overturning scenarios. And what are those key challenges related to AI bots in Microsoft 365? And why I'm saying AI bots and not only Copilot? Because one of the most common cases that are happening in several organizations is, unfortunately, and one of the most used tools is Teams. We are using Teams right now, and end users are able to install different kind of bots. And I saw on the past that these bots permit to take note for a meeting and share that with all the participants. And maybe in some moment, some specific topic was discussed, but all the information is shared with anyone and some sensitive document can be attached. For that reason, the Data Security Posture Management, DSPM, coming to help us on that. We were discussing a little about Copilot for security as well. That is another component related to AI. But in general, as I mentioned, we have uh, related to challenge, the data access and overturning risk. Anyone can access to the information. We have some problems that were located and happening are in the news. We can have privacy concerns. I will try to do a simple exercise. I have a dim environment, but working with my colleagues on the organization, I was showing to them that you can open Copilot, you can ask for your manager, and then for all the users that respond to the same manager, and then you can ask for all the past meeting for a specific user. And then if that user is using Copilot, you can request the summary for each meeting that user was participating. Or you can ask if that user have some document with credit card numbers and show those credit card numbers. There is several samples that today we can find using Copilot and using these tools. For that reason, this is very important to have in mind. And again, through DSPM for AI, we will find a way. And maybe more than that, you will need to sit first to review the assessment that we will get from the DSPM, because maybe we are not aware about how many data is overturned or is exposed in our environment. Here we can discuss some real-world samples related to a banking a chatbot can access to some information, and how the DSPM can help us to protect and take some actions. We will go there later on that. But here you can find some samples, some scenarios that we can use, and how the DSPM can help us to go forward on that kind of cases. Security Copilot and DSPM for AI. Now, the big question is the difference related to Security Copilot and DSPM. Why one or the other? And here we can see that in general, Security Copilot is focused on security operations, real-time insight and incident report and risk analysis. And the DSPM is focused on data classification and governance. In that case, through Microsoft Security Copilot, we will discuss about activities, and on DSPM, we will discuss about content. That can be very wide generalized for the concept, but we can use that to start thinking in the main difference between these two tools. Here we can see an overview and functionality for Microsoft Security Copilot and data security posture management. In general, this is more focused on what we have. The other one is what we are doing. One of the first things that we need to do with DSPM is try to identify that overturn. And in a couple slides, I will jump to a demo to show all these components, what is happening in general with all the organization and how we can get and take some actions for all of that. This one is very interesting. One of the problems that happen with Microsoft AI or inclusive. If you was reading in the recent past about some new features on Windows 11, that was a big deal because the new Windows 11 was looking for the way to start taking a screenshot almost every second to help to find some activities or help in several things. But finally, that have a big problem with data privacy. That is something that we need to have in mind and how we can take actions, start preventing, because today we have the problem. Today, we are overexposure with our data. Today, anyone can install an AI bot on Teams and start getting information. Today, anyone can use Copilot to start getting sensitive information, and we need to take actions about that. Here I'm sharing some general concept that we can review during this conversation. And let's go quick on the slide. I will share this presentation. You will be able to read more in depth the reference, all the stuff that are here. And now let's jump to the demo. And here, today, under the Purview portal, purview.microsoft.com, we are able to find DSPM for AI, or we can go through here on solutions and looking for DSPM for AI. Finally, I was open that one and I have here. And here we will have several information, but I was not thinking to do, but I will try to make the example here. This is a live idea that I'm getting to request information. I am using Bing. I am accessing to Copilot. I want to identify some colleagues on the organization, and you list them. Okay. Okay. Give me the the name of the HR people. It happens that right now my colleagues are testing and doing some stuff, but in general, and we are applying all these capabilities to protect. But please try to connect to Copilot, and you can start with these basic questions related to who is my manager, who is response to the same manager. Then we can start listing phone numbers, emails, documents, and several other information that is available on our tenant. And what's happened? Let me go back to here. This is the overview. And here you can find several resources that we can start using. The first thing is recommendations. And inclusive on recommendations, let's see all the recommendation. Yesterday, I was sharing on LinkedIn something that was just deployed, I believe, in all the tenants. You can start checking that. And here is you can find all of these recommendations to start protecting. And what one of these one is related to the new DLP capability. Here on policies, we can see when you just start with the old AI Hub and today the DSPM, one of the recommendations that the system do is create automatically a couple of policies with some rules. But additionally to these ones that are created, based, and the name is set by the same solution, today when we create a policy, we will find that in under locations, Copilot is appearing. And that is my first recommendation. If you are using sensitivity labels today, please review the DLP policies, come in here and see the last one at the bottom that is on preview. We will review that on the rules, we can set specific sensitivity labels, and I can get all the sensitivity labels from my organization. But as an example, I can get all the labels related to highly confidential, and I can say that anything that is marked contain the sensitivity labels is labeled with as a highly confidential. Here under action, we can set prevent Copilot from processing content. That means the crowd process from SharePoint that permit to identify the metadata will work, and we will have the capabilities to search in a specific site that contain highly confidential information, but at least Copilot, we will not be able to search information over any document that is using any of these highly confidential labels. If you want to start protecting now all this concept about oversharing, please start doing this. Something similar, and My apologies. Let me skip we will go later over all of this. We will discuss more in depth about all these capabilities. But another recommendation to take today in your tenant is go to the data assessment. Create the assessment is very simple. Doesn't have any additional information. It's very simple. I will calling this one overturn assessment. I will say that I want to include all the users, or you can specify some specific user or groups, but please take time and start doing this. This activity, this assessment doesn't impact the business. You will not have any kind of impact, and nothing will be broke in your tenant. But if you start doing this, and you can see that it's very simple, nothing else, you will be able, and as I mentioned previously, to look for a chair, sit in some place, and start reviewing this report. Because in this report, we are able to find how many file was scanned that contain sensitive information types, and for all those files, how many of them are labeled or not labeled, or the data was not scanned because some protections, labels, different actions were taken previously. But that is my first recommendation today. Take your time, go to Purview, Microsoft Purview portal, purview.microsoft.com, look for DSPM for AI, go to that assessment and run an assessment today. Please do that, because again, this is only an assessment. You will not be broke anything. Uh, Nothing will be impact, but at least you will be able to understand the size of your current problem or challenge, depend your point of view, but you can start taking some actions after this. Which action? The same that I was saying recently is please review. This week was released, is global available, is on preview, but was delivered appears in almost all the tenant. Under DLP, data loss prevention, under policies, under locations, when we create a policy, we will be able to find Copilot. We will be able to find Microsoft 365 Copilot, and we will have the capability to set a rule to say, please prevent to avoid that Copilot access to any highly confidential or restricted information. With these first two steps, there is several things to do yet, but you will go in the right pathway. Please take time to start here. Let's go back to the beginning of the DSPM. We have the overview. I don't know if you are taking time or not, but in general, take this kind of learning part on get started can be very helpful. Try to take, in this case, is almost 1 hour and a half, and try to take these activities, understand what we need to do and how we can use that. Then here on the overview, we can see some recommendations. All these recommendations have steps. We will review those steps. Some of these doesn't have direct configurations related to Copilot, but needs to be done to start protecting the data. Then we have a quick overview. We will go to the report. And finally, some resource that we can use. Let's go to recommendations. On recommendations, this is taking a little time. Here you can see that we have some activities that was created. As I mentioned previously, and you saw here on policies that this policy was created, another policy was similar created, and we will see other activities related to other components like insider risk management, like communication compliance that can be set. I am still pending to work in 5 recommendations. For each of these ones, we can have a general concept. This is related to a new AI regulation. We have some recommendations to monitor the logs. Here, as I mentioned previously, doesn't have any related activity to Copilot, but it's something that normally we are doing with our CM solutions or someone that take time to connect to Activity Explorer and review. For some of you that know me, maybe MPAR can be another option to get those logs. And inclusive, uh, if you are more in the line of Microsoft XDR, advanced hunting, we can run a simple query like this one to identify in the past 7 days all the Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 activities are happening. And here I can see several information for different users and several data that can be used. I will share this query here on the chat if any of you is using advanced hunting. This one can be helpful. It's a very simple query. Share here. Inclusive, maybe if some of you are following me on LinkedIn, I shared a couple of weeks ago on my GitHub page for PowerTel a sample solution for Defender for advanced hunting. And this script permit to easily the same script create a Microsoft Entra application. In the Microsoft Entra application, you set some permissions, and then in a config file folder, a query.txt file is created to looking for the Copilot activities. Nevertheless, you can add any query in that txt file, and using this script, you don't need to connect to Defender and Advanced Hunting to get the data. You can run the script only with the file with the query. And the advantage with this one, instead to use the web interface, is this one manage a big volume of data and have the capability to export to JSON format or logs analytics. Normally, on my past, I was doing several projects on PowerTel, exporting the data to Logs Analytics. But because when I export the data to Logs Analytics, I am able to create a different kind of report on Power BI. Inclusive, I have other project related to export all the activities from Activity Explorer that and filtering by workload or activity and several other options. Take your time, review. This one can be very helpful if you want to start getting the information. And one big advantage to run something like this one instead to Activity Explorer is here on Advanced Hunting, we can get the past 6 months. Under Activity Explorer, we are able only to get the past 30 days. That is a big deal. And you are invited to start using Advanced Hunting to get that kind of information. Only to show, this is an example about what I can get from Activity Explorer. I built this report internally to see the total license that are related to Copilot, how many of those licenses are in use. I can easy to see where the activities are happening, the daily activities, or inclusive, which data are you accessing that is not labeled. All this information can be get from Activity Explorer. The same through based on Advanced Hunting. These are a different approach to get the information. And when we saw here that we need to monitor the logs related to AI interaction, that is a good approach to start getting several information. You can find me on LinkedIn. I am constantly sharing PowerShell script tips related to this and how you can get the data. Sometimes I share some of this Power BI report to get the data from logs analytics and start viewing what is happening in our organization. And here you can start viewing all those capabilities. This is very interesting to manage. Please take the time to review and see if you can start taking this one. We did the assessment. In this case, we can say this one is complete, or we can dismiss this one. And normally, what is happening, Microsoft is constantly adding more recommendations. If you are constantly accessing to this feature, you will see that in the past week, some additional recommendations were added. Now, under reports, activities related to Microsoft Copilot, activities related to Security Copilot, activities related to other AIs. This one is very important. Activities related to sensitive information types, unethical AI interactions. In all the cases that you can find here, this is very interesting because when we press, here is asking me to create more policies related to risk interactions. But what's happening here? DSPM have a Another activity explorer can be said that is the same, but is focused only on AI. And you have several other filters that if you go to here to DLP, information protection, or any other Purview feature that give to you access to Activity Explorer, we will see that the filters available here are not the same, or you need to do more additional steps. Here is more simple to identify the activity type related to AI. AI app category, in this case, we are talking about Microsoft Copilot, but I can see other enterprise AI, and let me remove, and I can follow all of that. What's happened? What's happened? That is a big deal. When you try to export, from the web interface, you can get, if my memory doesn't fault, only 10,000 records. If you have more than 10,000 records, you need to go to PowerTool and start paying the result. For that same reason, I'm extended the invitation to see my GitHub site. I have several projects on GitHub to get the data from Activity Explorer, to get the data from Advanced Hunting, to get the data from the Office 365 Management API, several options. And here we can start playing with different filters to see what is happening in our environment. Take your time, view report by report. The advantage on this point is all those report move to you to Activity Explorer, but have some previous preset on the filters that can be used. In that case, this first report can give to you an idea how you can use the filters to get all this information. And now we can go to policies. Policies related to the DSPM for AI. But as I mentioned at the beginning, with the advantage that permit to create different policies over different services like DLP, insider risk management, or communication compliance. Normally, the first ones related to AI Hub, Microsoft AI Hub, have an endpoint component that is very important to have on mind. Uh, all of this is E5 license. Then something similar happened with insider risk management. We can go here. You can see here what happened here. Here we can see all the policies that are recommended from DSPM to implement in our organization. But in all the cases, when we select the policy, we are moved to the right feature, the right console, in this case, inside the risk management, to manage that specific policy that is called risky AI hold. And I can find here that this one, let's see what we can see here. We use communication compliance. We use the device onboarded. This is a demo environment and is scoped to few users. But here we can see under triggering event that we have some activities related to AI website. This policy under insider risk management that have a component on endpoint, that have a component with Microsoft Entra and the risky users, that have a component with communication compliance to identify some wordings, permit to identify if something is happening with some general AI website. What happened? I don't know if you was reading maybe in social networks, but well, now the companies are taking some some controls and mitigate. But when you was using a chat GPT as an example to ask for any site that permit to download pirate movies, a copy of certain movies, normally all the eyes was saying, okay, I am not able to share that because is going over any data protection policy, blah, 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 blah. Nevertheless, several users found a way to obtain the data from these AIs, changing the questions to which sites I need to avoid to find this information. And doing that exercise, you was able to get all the information that you was looking because the AI was answering, what do you need to avoid? In that case, this kind of, through insider risk management, these kind of policies permit to identify through inappropriate message on communication compliance and other component that exists, identify that someone is trying to read certain information, changing the way to make the answers, make the questions that permit to finally get the right answers. And here we can see that we have some specific policies related to insider risk management, policies related to data loss prevention, and communication compliance. Let's review this one under communication compliance. I am redirect to the communication compliance feature inside the Microsoft Purview portal. And here I am able to identify, as an example, this policy. Okay, I don't have that specific permission, but we can see the summary. And here we can see that we are working over some specific, we are working over Microsoft 365 Copilot. We are identifying all the internal, external, or the information that's coming from outside related and inclusive. We can set OCR. OCR is another capability that can be very helpful to enable on DLP. With all of this on mind, finally, we fall again under Activity Explorer, where we can filter the data. Today, the presentation is going very quick. I don't know, again, as always, this is an open discussion. If you have any questions or comment or answers, or any doubt that you can have, please feel free to write on the chat. Let me back to here. I will go to the Q&A, but here on the Q&A, let me share some specific slide that I have hide that permit us to expand maybe some questions that you are not have a mind, or maybe you was not totally aware. Please remember that this is a pause, that all my previous sessions you can find on YouTube at Cast Demos. I have several previous sessions related to Purview, Purview Data Map, MIP Scanner, data loss, sensitivity label, data catalog, and other topics. And if you, I will share on the chat as well, but please try to take the time to answer the survey. That information can be very helpful for me. One of the common questions that we can have when we talk about AI and all those challenges related to data protection is, what exactly does AI overturn? And as I mentioned, the advent today, we have the same issue. If we have any user inside of our organization is able to find information that is not protected, but as a user, take us a lot of time to open a folder, move between the folders, and all of that. Nevertheless, Copilot and several AIs have the capability to do that very quickly, because use the crowd process of SharePoint, have access to all the library with the metadata, and that permit to identify the information very quickly. For that reason, we need to take some actions. Prevent entirely the overturning is a big deal, and is maybe it's almost impossible, maybe, because we are working every time with end users, and if we don't have the right culture internally, end users can still making some errors when they store the data. Nevertheless, please remember that today you can start today with two big important points. Go to that assessment, create an assessment. This is not disruptive for your organization, can give to you a complete overview about what is happening with your data. Please, if you are using Copilot, please do this today. And the other big point to start working today is, under data loss prevention, under policies, this week was released under location, a new location that is Microsoft 365 Copilot. In that order of idea, we can easily create a rule or a couple of rules. Here you can see, let me unselect all of this. And here at bottom, you can see Microsoft 365 Copilot. And we can create a rule to say that all the information that contain sensitivity labels, this is only based on sensitivity labels. If you're not using sensitivity labels yet, you can reach me, you can reach us, or try to start working with sensitivity labels, you can see my past sessions about sensitivity labels. Is something that you need to start using. And I can get all the information that is set as a confidential or highly confidential. I can get all those labels and say, okay, anything that is labeled as a highly confidential, under action, I will say, prevent Copilot from processing content. Those are the two steps that you need to start doing today to start protecting your information. It's not all, but at least are a big two steps that you can start working. Remember that Microsoft Security Copilot that work with Microsoft Defender, with Advanced Hunting, with Microsoft XDR, is capable to identify the alerts that are generating from the policies that can be created from the DSPM. Let me jump to that point again. Here, under DSPM for AI, we will find certain policies. If you enable those policies will generate alerts, will take some actions. Communication compliance inside the risk management are capable to identify some behaviors on end users, and all that information is sent to Copilot, or Security Copilot can use all that information to identify anomalies and take response in real time. In general, Security Copilot is completely integrated with Microsoft 365, based on the logs, based on the rules, the policy rules, the communication compliance rules, the inside risk management rules that we were create. This one permit to identify overturning based by misconfiguration. Yes, but you need to set some policies previously to generate that information and tell to Security Copilot that is an odd behavior, is something that we want to avoid. Now, related to the data security posture management, DSPM, this one permits us to start getting all the information and taking some quick actions to protect the data. For that reason, I was saying to you, please take these two actions, go to the assessment, start running the assessment, start using the new capability on DLP to start protecting the information. And here we are discussing today some immediately steps that you need to do uh, related to other stuff that we can do to prevent overturning. Maybe those questions are the biggest one. Try to find that balance between the productivity and the data governance and the protection. That is in general. I don't know if today I was running with the presentation. We still have time if you want to answer, or maybe if you want to see some specific point or configurations, please feel free to ask. I will please let me sorry, move here. Here is my YouTube channel where I have my previous sessions. You can access to that. And if you can take a couple of minutes, please fulfill this survey. This survey can help to me to improve my projects, my webinars that I am doing almost monthly, every time that there is some interesting topics. Any question, comment, doubt, feedback that you want to share today? Well, in that case, today we are finishing very quickly. Appears that I was running over the slides. I was concerned to go to the demo and show the capabilities. Thanks for joining today. Much appreciated that you participate on this last webinar. Have a great holidays. I hope that you can enjoy on family. Have a good one. Bye bye.